Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Make Life Less Taxing podcast, the show where we uncover what really creates freedom in life and business, and we'll explore stories of those who've learned how to build wealth with purpose.
Welcome back to the Make Life Less Taxing podcast. I'm Daniel Hanzelka, and today we're entering the conversation that sits beneath every strategy, every habit, and every breakthrough, and every breakdown in your life: identity. In episode 1, we talked about where you came from. Episode 2 was about the enemy you're fighting. And here in episode 3, we will talk about the operating system that's running the entire game. Who you believe you are. Not the identity the industry assigned to you, not the identity you perform for clients, not the identity shaped by stress, pressure, or expectations. I'm talking about the core identity that determines what you tolerate, what you pursue, what you allow, what you build, what you sabotage, what you become. Because here's the truth: whatever controls your identity controls your life. Let's begin. Identity isn't something you choose. It's something that chooses you first. Most people think identity is a decision. I decide who I want to be. I'll build confidence. I'll reinvent myself. But identity isn't created first. Identity is inherited, installed, absorbed, shaped in moments when you weren't aware anything was being shaped. Before you choose what your career to enter to, before you build your business, before you had a title or a license, identity was already forming inside of you through your upbringing, your environment, your wounds, your culture, your family system, your survival responses. For me, my identity was shaped under communism, a world built on scarcity, fear, control, obedience. Don't stand out, don't expect more, stay small and stay safe. That identity followed me when we defected. It followed me into Canada. It followed me into adulthood. It followed me into the financial industry, and it followed me into the leadership and fatherhood. But the moment that shaped my identity the most wasn't shaped and didn't happen because of communism. It happened when I was 9 years old, and it installed an operating system inside of me that would silently run my life for decades. The day my Red World identity was installed. Now, when I explain Red World identity, people think I'm speaking metaphorically, but I'm not. I'm talking about a moment that imprinted itself onto my entire life long before I had the emotional capacity to understand it. I was 9 years old. My parents were going through a separation that eventually ended in a divorce. But during all of that time, we were still living in the same house. Now, one afternoon, a delivery of coal arrived. That was the heat source that we were using at the time. That was for survival. Normally, my father would take care of this. He would be the one that would be taking it inside of the house. But that day, it was different. It was only my mother, friend of mine, and me. We were taking wheelbarrow after wheelbarrow into the basement. Shovel after shovel, load after load. At first, I felt proud, like a boy stepping into manhood. But as the hours passed, my arms started to burn, my back was aching, my spirit got tired. And that's when I glanced across the street. Our uncle built a house across the street, my dad's brother. And I saw my dad standing there watching, not moving, not helping. And something inside of me shifted. It wasn't anger at first, it was confusion. A deep sense of abandonment. I didn't have language for it. Later that evening, when he finally crossed the street to come home, something inside of me snapped when I saw him. I ran to the front door and I locked it. I thought, I'm going to teach him a lesson. Then I hid in a small side room, closing the second door behind me. I could hear him outside knocking, banging on the door, then eventually yelling, and then the sharp crack of breaking glass as he punched through the window in the door and opened the door from the inside. And I sat there, a 9-year-old boy hiding behind another door, heart pounding, frozen in the shadows. I wasn't just hiding from him. I was hiding from the confusion, responsibility I didn't understand, conflict I didn't know how to navigate, emotions I had no space to process. And in that moment, an identity was installed. A 9-year-old boy decided, I am alone. No one is coming. I have to protect myself. If something goes wrong, it's on me. It's safer to hide. I must survive. I need to carry the weight. I can't trust the people who should be protecting me. That boy grew up. He became a business owner, financial advisor, a leader, coach, husband, father. But inside, that 9-year-old was still driving. And let me tell you the truth. This is what I want you to hear. You cannot build a blue world life with a red world identity. You cannot live in scarcity thinking somehow you're going to build a world of abundance. This is why high achieving advisors often collapse under pressure. Advisors don't struggle because of leads. They don't struggle because of lack of training. They don't struggle because of markets, regulations, or technology. Advisors struggle because they're operating with identity formed in childhood wounds, survival patterns, moments of abandonment, moments of pressure, moments when they believe, I am on my own. I must carry everything by myself. I can't rely on anyone. I'll rest later. Don't show weakness. I just need to push a little bit harder and then I'll get it. My worth is in my production. What I feel doesn't matter. Results do. And then the industry reinforced those beliefs with giving us production quota, compliance pressure, constant urgency, performance culture, fear-based leadership, and the unspoken message, you don't matter, only your numbers do. This is why advisors burn out quietly. This is why they collapse in private. This is why they feel disconnected from their own lives, even when they're successful. Identity is the silent battle no one trains advisors to fight. How this identity shapes every part of your business needs to be an awareness that you have. Identity is not a concept. Identity is the steering wheel of your life. It determines how you talk to clients, how you respond to pressure, what boundaries you set, what opportunities you will pursue, how you price your value, how you show up under stress, how you see yourself, and how you see God. Your identity walks into the room long before your strategy does. You can have the best marketing, you can join the best FMO, the best leads, you can have the best products, the best office, maybe even the best certifications. But if the wrong identity is driving, none of that matters. Your identity will override your strategy every time. Every advisor eventually reaches a moment where the pressure becomes too heavy and they ask, is this who I am or who I became to be and to just become to survive? That moment is the doorway to transformation because survival identity always leads to burnout. Over-responsibility, self-sabotage, comparison, exhaustion, and emotional disconnection. But steward identity, the identity God intended you to lead, will lead to clarity, alignment, authority, peace, strength, and sustainable success. The shift from survival identity to steward identity is often very subtle. A steward identity says, I am not the source. I am the vessel. I operate from overflow, not from desperation. I'm guided, not pressured. I am called, not controlled. I trust, I don't grind. I build what God designed me, not what the industry demands. My identity is not for sale to any system. This is the identity the systems fears the most because a person rooted in truth cannot be manipulated, cannot be owned, cannot be steered by fear, cannot be taxed by pressure, cannot be silenced by scarcity. That is why identity matters, because once your identity shifts, everything will shift. Your money shifts, your relationship to time shifts, your clarity shifts, your business model will shift, your boundaries will shift, your conversations and your confidence will shift. Your entire reality shifts. Identity is the foundation of freedom, and advisors who reclaim identity become advisors the system cannot control. Your identity is the real vehicle. Advisors think their vehicle is their marketing funnel, sales process, product suite, maybe a CRM or a brand, or their offer. None of those are the true vehicle. Your identity is, because identity determines how you speak, how you sell, how you lead, how you create, and how you show up in the world. Identity is what attracts the right clients and repels the wrong ones. Identity is what makes your message resonate and makes your content undeniable. Identity is what gives you authority in a marketplace full of noise. Identity is what turns chaos into clarity and calling into a movement. The industry taught you to build a business. Identity teaches you to build a life. Once your identity shifts, you stop chasing and you start choosing. You stop performing and you start leading. You stop hustling and you start stewarding. You stop being a passenger and become the driver. You stop surviving in the industry and start shaping it. This will come down to a crossroads. I believe that every advisor hits a moment. Some in year 1, others after 20 years. Wherever they look at their life, and they will ask themselves this question: is this exhaustion my destiny, or is this just my identity? Well, here's the truth. Your identity determines your reality, and the system you submit to determines the life you live. You cannot create blue world life with a red world identity. You cannot build a peaceful business on top of survival identity, and you cannot keep what is yours while living as someone the system designed. This is where the keep what is yours movement and break free truly begins. Not with money, not with tactics, not even with strategy or anything else. It starts with identity. Before we wrap this up, I want to leave you with one question. Where in your life have you allowed a system to define who you are instead of the truth God speaks over you? That is the place where freedom begins, and identity is where you take the wheel. Listen, this has been another episode of Make Life Less Taxing, and this is the Keep What Is Yours and Break Free movement. God bless, and we'll see you on another episode.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Make Life Less Taxing podcast. Be sure to check out our other top advisor interviews at makelifelsesstaxingpodcast.com.